Hello everyone, welcome back. If you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Anusha. I'm going into my first year of medicine at King's College London, and in today's video I thought I'd go over the Oxbridge application process. Now I know that the deadline's coming up next month and a lot of you are still wondering whether or not it's for you and whether or not you want to apply. I know exactly how you're feeling. I was in your position and it took me quite a while to come to a decision. So I'm hoping by sharing my journey, by sharing my experiences and my tips, that it'll be able to help some of you guys. I don't know why I was feeling the zoomed in intro and I apologise for that, but we move. Now, as ever, before we start, it is not a mocha, it is not a coffee. Hope you're proud. The main thing to take note about Oxbridge is that it has a collegiate system. Now this basically means that the institute's divided into a series of colleges. Most colleges have typically between 300 and 500 students, undergraduate and graduate combined. Now that's quite different because it's a lot smaller than most other universities. For example, King's College London and Queen Mary University of London both have over 25,000 students, both undergraduate and graduate combined. So that's another thing to bear in mind. Now, I wasn't really sure what all this meant in the beginning, but basically the university decides the subject content, they organise the lectures and they come up with the exams and the mark schemes, whereas the college comes up with the accommodation offers, the catering, as well as the supervisions, which are the small group teachings, and ultimately who they accept onto their undergraduate programme. That's why you apply through a college and not the university itself. I applied for Cambridge, not for Oxford. The main reasoning behind this is just because I'd been to Cambridge more and I was more familiar with the area. I knew my way around-ish, if you know me with navigation. It's a work in progress. Now, a lot of you asked why Queen's College for me out of the 33 colleges that were available to you at Cambridge. Now, some of them are for graduate courses specifically, so be sure to check that out. I'd been there more with my family, I'd been there with the school trips, for lectures, so I knew the city quite well and I thought that I would fit well in there. But Oxford is also an amazing university, so be sure to check out both on the open days. Now, when applying for medicine, one of the main reasons I wanted to do it was for the patient contact and to be able to see the different cases that come in every day. So when applying for Cambridge Medicine, I had to change my mindset a little bit in terms of only being able to start that after year 4. However, it is also really good because then you get to consolidate the knowledge that you do know and be able to be absolutely certain about the scientific knowledge that you've learned. But in terms of personal statement, my personal statement had to be a lot more academic than perhaps it needed to be if I were applying to other universities. When you are considering Oxbridge, that is something to bear in mind. I will cover the personal statement in another video in more detail. However, for a brief overview, I would say my personal statement was about 75% based off of academic interest and projects that I've taken part in. You can involve, of course, your extracurricular activities and other work experience and volunteering that you have done, but a lot of it has to be academically based in order to show the things that you have done and the things that you are interested in doing in the future. For Oxbridge, most courses require you to sit an entrance exam anyways, so be sure to check it out on the website if that's the case for you. For medicine, you have to sit the BMAT, which is the Biomedical Admissions Test, alongside the UCAT, which is the UK Clinical Aptitudes Test. Now, if you sit both, bear that in mind because that is 2 sets of revision that you'll have to do, 2 sets of preparation that you'll have to do. Now, a lot of you asked if I find it difficult to cope with both entrance exams. Now, I did my UCAT in around mid-August and I did the October sitting for BMAT, so I had about 2 months in between to prepare and relax as well. So I didn't really find it difficult, but I found it quite hard to adjust between the two because UCAT was all online and BMAT is traditionally handwritten. This year will be online though because of COVID-19. For BMAT, you can have 2 sittings. I think this year it's September and November. If you did sit it in September, then you would know your score before you sent off your UCAS form, meaning that you could apply for the universities based off of your score. However, if you sit in November, then just bear in mind that the university will get the score before you do and then decide whether or not they'll take you for interview. I'll be releasing another video about the BMAT very soon, so stay tuned for that. And you can find more information on my Instagram page, which is at MyGKT-Monologues, if you want to check it out. Now on to interview. Most of the time you hear back about whether or not you have an interview after your entrance exam results are released. Now, as I've mentioned, your university usually get your entrance exam results the day before you do, so depending on that, sometimes you can get called for interview earlier. that was the case for me, so it kind of took me by surprise. I fully thought I was being punked. I remember I was in the common room that day and I was actually revising the chemistry, and I wasn't expecting to get the email at all, so I knew people had started hearing back, and I sat there and I was like, and then I got the email and I was like, now I am genuinely being serious. I was not expecting interview at all, because when I sat at the beamer I didn't feel that good about it, so I sort of prepared myself for a rejection pre-interview. So I was sitting in the common room and then I got the email and I was like, Usually they try to give you 2 weeks notice, sometimes it can be 3 depending on the college, but be prepared for that. Okay, so I had 2 interviews, both of them were half an hour, and I had a half an hour break in between, and I found that really useful for me because I was able to process the first interview as well as not let it affect me when I was preparing for the second one. I can't go into details about the questions because I signed a form, and like I said, that makes it official apparently. Now what I can say is they managed to fit a lot into 2 half-an-hour slots. In terms of the academics, you don't need to know everything. You can't possibly know everything. That's not the point. What they want you to do is to be able to be really confident with what you do know, and then use that when trying to solve other problems that they're going to give you. Speak out loud when you're thinking about a problem or trying to solve it. They want to see how you approach it, how you think about it, how you go about solving it, because at the end of the day, you could have a really good method of trying to solve it but get the answer wrong, and they would much rather have that than you just sitting there quiet and then having a mind blank about getting the answer wrong. Speaking from personal experience, I was unsuccessful including the inter-college pool. Sigh. Which is basically when your college is oversubscribed for the number of places they have on your course, so they decide to put your application in the pool, and that means that other colleges can firstly see if they've got spaces to take you on their course, as well as see if they like your application and they want you as one of their students. But let me get serious for a minute, because people ask me if looking back on it I regret applying for Cambridge or if I should have applied for another university instead. And no, I have no regrets whatsoever. Of course it was academically challenging and quite stressful at times. It helped me with the rest of my A-level content, it prepared me for interviews later on, including King's. It was a great experience overall, and it was just so different to the rest of the UCAS process that I'm glad I did it. Now all of that's over, I've only really got one thing left to say. I'm so excited to be starting at King's! So that's my Oxbridge experience and my insight into all of it. I'm really hoping that you found the video useful and informative. I'm hoping that it will help some of you decide whether or not Oxbridge is the one for you and make it a bit easier for you. If you did find it useful, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content, and stay tuned.